All right, welcome again to everyone to our virtual trade show. So as you may know, there are some challenges here in Australia so that we can go out and visit. So just to check here, everyone can see the screen, everyone can see the video. Can you maybe raise your hand if you can see the video there or the trade show there? Yes, so it looks like it's working. All right, so you all can see. So let's get back to this, the presentation and do all our trainings and also showing us our booth this year has been quite of a challenge, but thanks to the guys at Fronius International for putting this virtual trade fair all together. So maybe let's jump into the trade fair. So here it's basically our welcoming area. As you can see, we have our 24 hours of sun. So this is the Fronius vision of achieving 100% renewable. So today we will have a look at some of our new product, also our current range of product, and a few exciting things happening on the Fronius side. So to start with, let's maybe have a look at the current snap inverter range for the commercial sector. So I will just jump in this section. So here you can see both the resi and the commercial inverter. So for Fronius, commercial starts at 10 kilowatts, so 10 to 27 kilowatts. So usually when a customer wants a flexible inverter, they go with the SIMO 10 to 20, and then they want to really optimize in terms of cost. That's where they go with the economical inverter, so the Fronius Eco 25 and 27. So looking at the inverter there, when we click on this particular button, you will be able to see some of the projects we've been working on, but also the main reason why people use the Fronius Snap inverters on commercial jobs. So I'm pretty sure some of you guys are on the social media. They can see a lot of big projects going with Fronius. So there are reasons why people are using our product for commercial systems. So basically, one of the reasons there are that we have the fastest service on the market. So if anything happened to one of those inverters, it's really easy to change. We have also board replacement through our Fronius solution partners. So also with rooftop, you don't need to bring, for example, a crane in. So it's pretty simple and straightforward to exchange our inverter. In terms of operating expenditure, it is quite low, so you don't really need to do much with the service side of things. Definitely lowering this OPEX is quite important for us. You don't need to do, of course, a lot of maintenance with the inverter. It's actively cooled, so we have the fan to blow let's say all the dust there, so you don't need to clean the heatsink, for example. You have a lot of flexibility when you combine both the Eco and the SIMO together. We have active technology, and we've been in this industry for quite a long time, so people trust in our product. So what I really want to show you guys is a bit more than the information that we have here. So just on our website, there's quite a lot of information about our power package of the SIMO and the Eco all together. So it's really important to understand what's the percentage that the inverter participate in terms of the total cost of a system, and the inverter is basically only 9% there. So it's really important to know where you want to optimize. So on Fronius side, what we really want to focus is on this 33%, which is your BOS cost. We really want to optimize this section because that's where you can get more gain. For example, so we want to make sure that the customer has a high return on investment. Flexibility, we mentioned before, you can use the SIMO as one of the options, but some people use our Eco even if you have two different orientation, and we are able to achieve an east-west configuration. Let's say the worst case scenario, east-west on the Eco, and still have this minimal loss and harvest quite a lot of amount of energy. So we have case studies also as an example to show that it does perform as good as let's say an inverter where they have all the panels facing the same direction. We also have active cooling, so we know that it is pretty important to have active cooling inside the inverter, so it will reduce the hotspot. And we're pretty confident, having so much experience in power conversion, we know how this is crucial. So within residential or commercial, we have a lot of features inside, but also active cooling is one of the important parts. One of the final part is data communication. So with our Fronius Data Manager card, we have a lot of open interfaces that you can use. So Modbus TCP RTU gives you a lot of flexibility. So if you have your BMS and any other third-party control, for example, it helps you quite a lot there. Then reliability also in terms of testing our product is pretty interesting. There's a video if you guys are interested to have a look on our website. It's called Power Package EU. Please have a look. Definitely, it's really interesting. And if you guys want to know more about our solution, how we optimizing costs, we are running training within a few weeks to show you guys how this is done. But if you want to have more information, please contact our team here using this email pv_solution_Australia Australia at fronius.com. So maybe let's go back to the virtual trade fair there. So you guys seen the Fronius commercial inverter. So maybe the next part is let's have a look at the new commercial inverter that will be coming out soon. So here you will see that we have the Fronius Taro inverter. So this will be the new commercial inverter. So we don't have any exact ETA yet, but this will be the new inverter available for you guys. So what we're going to do is maybe have a look at how the inverter looks like. So here you can see you will have your AC connection on the right hand side, your DC connection coming at the bottom of the inverter here. This inverter can also be installed directly in the sun, which is quite a new feature. We won't go in a lot of details here. This is a product which will be coming out. We will be able to give you more ETA within the next year. But definitely it's a product that people are looking forward to. So as soon as we have more information, definitely we will let you guys know. But we can tell you that this inverter is already been tested in Greece. So we already have the system out there being tested and monitored. So it's definitely something that we are working on, and hopefully we can bring to Australia soon. So this is the new Taro inverter. So definitely there are information if you're interested, but today the focus will be more on our other inverter. So as you guys may know, there are a few inquiries coming in about let's say storage in terms of commercial. So what we thought will be the best option there will be to use the Fronius Cymogen 24. So maybe let's go in the residential section. So here you can see our new Fronius Cymogen 24. So this inverter is the maximum size will be a 10 kilowatt, but you will be able to daisy chain 3 of them later on, not when the product is released, but later on. Hopefully we can give you more exact dates. So let's say the bigger picture there is to have 3 of them together, so 30 kilowatt worth of inverter, and then from there being able to put around 66 kilowatt hour per inverter will be the goal. So as you can see, this will be I would say game changer for your small commercial storage. So if you have, let's say, 100 kilowatt system already installed out there and you want to put storage, that's where you will be able to use this inverter. So maybe let's have a look at the main features of this Cymogen 24. So here you can see that we remove the screen from the inverter. Of course, we need to make sure that the installation is pretty simple and easy and straightforward for the customer. They will be able to monitor the whole system on SolarWeb, of course. This is pretty important. The inverter can do multi-flow, so if you have another generator, so let's say another 100 kilowatt, you can do it with it and AC couple it. You have PV point and full backup available with the inverter, and so you have quite a few options for commercial. Not really something that I would say will be applicable, but you also have energy management and some open interfaces. So we will cover a bit more about it later on. Servicing also is pretty important, so that's something that we will talk also a bit more about later. So as you can see, you have all the solution in one product. So that's where the new Gen 24 comes into play. So maybe let's have a look inside the unit. So this is how it looks like. We have a new heatsink, a new cooling system there, more efficient cooling. If when you combine that with a larger fan at the front, which basically suck the air in, we are able to cool the inverter more efficiently. So just to show you guys here, the actual fan, because it's wider, and also combine that with the new heatsink, we don't need to run this fan at 100%. So definitely that's a big advantage there. And we all know how active cooling is important, especially here in Australia, where you have quite a high ambient temperature around the country. So this is really important when it comes to lifetime of the components. The other part is the assembly. So let's have a look at that, how easy it is. So we have still this snap feature where you will have the wall bracket, and then from there you just install the inverter and clip that in, where you have this small feature on the right hand side to secure the inverter on the wall. After that, you also have a 180-degree lock screw. So you have 5 screws here on the cover, and you just need to basically unscrew the cover to get to the cabling side of things. So let's have a look at this part. So you'll see here we just need to use a screwdriver, so you don't need a drill machine, just 180 degree, and the bottom cover comes off. So we wanted to make sure that this is nice and quick, and then from there you see all the DC and AC side. So we have a new connection area, so we use push-in spring connection. So if you look at this section, you'll see that you can remove this bottom part, and then from there you have this spring release clamp where you just put the DC cable in. It's also applicable for the AC, and then from there you put the terminal back. So we wanted to make sure that the space there is still a large space, so that the installer can easily go in and change or remove the cabling there. So we wanted to keep a lot of space. So on the AC side, you will see that you have two let's say points there. So or let's say 2 AC connections. So one is called a PV point. So this is for your backup as an option, and this is your normal AC connection. So with the PV point, you have this as an option, and you also have a full backup also as an option. So we will talk a bit more about the PV point, but here you can see that it's the same, let's say, spring release clamp that we have on the DC and the AC side. So maybe let's put the cover. One thing also is the service, which is pretty important. We know that any system here, or even in general in the world, you will need to service any inverter or any electrical component will need to be serviced at a point of time. So that's where it's really important for our inverter also to be pretty fast in terms of exchange. So as you can see, there's only one board there. You also have a new, let's say, data manager card, which is called a pilot, that you can exchange. But basically, I would say it's one big board and one data manager card. So this is where we wanted to make sure that the process is really easy and simple for the customer. So let's put the cover back on, and let's have a look at the commissioning process of the inverter. So even our bigger inverter is going to be kind of a similar process, because we're using the same monitoring card there, which is called the pilot. So we put the cover back on. We have those 180-degree lock screw. So again, the same as what we've seen before. Turn the inverter on. And then from there, press on the screen here on the LED sensor there, just press it once and you will see that the lights start to blink blue. After that, you just need to take your phone, open the new Solar Start app, and then from there you can start your installation. So you just need to log in, and then from there you can start your installation. So you can, for this one, it's the Gen 24, you select that. You can do manual connection, so you can press the network. Here you need to log in as a customer just for the network settings. So enter the system name, enter where the system is installed, agree with terms and condition, and you're done there. The next step is to get your network done. So you just select the customer network, enter the password, and you're done. So from there, you will see if you're connected or not. So you don't need to disconnect as before. Now, the next part is to set the settings on the inverter. So you will need to have some technical settings set up. So from there, you will need to have enter all the general information as the PV generator on the system, and also enter all the components. So if you have a smart meter installed, for example, and just add every other component. You can also set up the backup solution, or let's say export invitation on this product page. The last part is just starting the commissioning. So adding the system online, sorry. So to add the system online, you just need to log in into the portal and then just add the system serial number. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We took a lot of feedback from the market and make sure that we implement it in our inverter. So for sure, it's something that the process will be way simpler and way faster there. All right, so maybe the next part is let's have a look at the backup option. So in terms of commercial, maybe what would be quite interesting is the PV point. So you don't need to do a lot of wiring in this case. So what is this PV point is basically one GPU which is connected to this secondary output on the inverter. The thing is, for this solution, you will have a maximum of 3 kilowatt available in this state. So you don't need to do a lot of wiring. It's an AC cable coming from the inverter to this GPU, and you need to manually plug that in. If you want, you can do a full backup, but again, for commercial, it depends what size we're talking about. You can have your essential and non-essential loads separated, but basically you can have 9 kilowatt of backup depending on which battery and inverter you have. That's the maximum, of course, that you can do. But this is an automatic disconnect, so we will have contactors installed in the main switchboard to do this job. So still, I would say applicable for your small commercial job if you want a backup solution. So what's the difference between those two? The PV point is a GPU. The full backup is usually your whole house. But in your case, if you're doing commercial, it's going to be, let's say, an office, for example. And you can see that for full backup is the whole house, and the PV point is just one GPU there. All right. So maybe the next part that we will have a look will be the commercial storage, what we spoke at the start. So maybe let's go and have a look at this side. So this is our storage solution. So let's have a look here. So with the storage solution, as you can see here, there are three BYD HVM battery all stacked, and the goal would be to have three of those batteries connected to one inverter. And of course, you can AC couple the inverter if you want, and you can charge from this inverter to this one and then charge the battery. So yeah, the goal is to go up to 66.2 kilowatt hours, which is quite a lot. And we think that this will be a good solution for your small commercial jobs. And the goal is to do this solution times 3 again, having 3 inverters on site. So one of the quite important part is the fleet management. So with Fronius, we have a lot of open interfaces where we can help like via Modbus to talk to smart devices. For example, if you have like electric charging stations, for example, if you want to make it quite smart, you can have like a fleet management using all the open interfaces that you have, because I would say electric vehicle will come quite significant here in Australia for sure. I was actually watching a webinar talking about how 2025 there will be so many electric vehicles out there. So within our inverter, we wanted to make sure that, for example, residential or even commercial um, customers, they can use this benefit of this third-party integration within our inverter. So we want to be able to talk to different devices, I would say. So definitely it's something to look for with the SIMO Gen 24. I highly encourage you guys to have a look at that, because there's a lot of potential for sure. So in terms of charging and discharging, some interesting fact about the inverter. So we can have a look at the award-winning competition here. So in Berlin in 2020, we were awarded the first place in the highest efficiency system, so 94%. So what do we have within the inverter to make this possible is that we have a high charging and discharging input on the inverter, and also we can put quite a lot of amount of storage, so 22.1 kilowatt per battery box. So basically what we can do is charge the battery at the same time and send power to, let's say, your load at the same time. And if you look at this energy flow, we call it the multi-flow technology within our inverter. So let's say you have a Fronius Gen 24, and let's say you have another inverter, or let's say you have a 100 kilowatt system there. You can take the power from the AC, charge the battery, and also at the same time charge the battery from the PV to the battery. So that's what we call the multi-flow. We can discharge the battery and take power from the PV at the same time and send it to your loads. So this makes it really efficient that we can charge this battery with 9 kilowatts. So we can have the battery full at quite an early stage, for example, during the day. So this is something pretty cool with the inverter, and highly recommend to have a look there. So as you can see, this is our storage solution. So those inverters is more for the RASI section. So the next part that maybe I will show you is the digital tools. So with the digital tools, it's good to have all this hardware, but to monitor, to install, to monitor, and to service is also pretty important. So we have 3 different apps coming out soon. So the Solar Start app is already out. So we already had a look at that. This was used at the start to commission the Gen 24. So brand new app. You can use this this particular app for the Snap inverter too if you want. But the thing is, there's a certain serial number where you have a better experience. So definitely there will be some information coming from our marketing department, where we will be able to talk a bit more about this. So definitely something to look for, and you guys have seen how simple it is. So let's look at SolarWeb. There is also a new solar monitoring app coming out soon. It's not there yet, but you can see that we have also taken feedback on board. We wanted to make things simpler and more smooth in terms of information. So definitely highly encourage you guys to have a look at our new SolarWeb app when it's out. Definitely the experience is way better. I had a chance to play with it. It's definitely different from the current one that we have. Of course, we have our SolarWeb platform where you can monitor all the system there. So this is a video which shows you that it is important to look at your system, to monitor your system. It's a behavior that you're learning, of course. So different time of the day. With also our weather forecast, it's pretty important to see how you're using your power depending on what's happening on site. So know how to use your power efficiently also is pretty important. So turning on and off different loads. If you have a battery, when are you using the battery the most, and making a smart decision there. So you can access all the information using our solar web portal. There's quite a lot of information. You can really go in depth if you want to know a lot about the inverter itself, but definitely recommend to have a look at our solar web portal. The last one is the solar SOS. So this is more the service side of things. So with the SOS, it is an app where you can definitely, for example, debug if something goes wrong with the inverter, but you can also do a bit more with it. So let's have a look here. So you can log in using your account. You can troubleshoot whatever issue you have with the inverter. You don't need to call the tech support. You can order whatever part if you're an FSP or inverter, if you're an installer. And then from there, you don't need to wait on the phone. You have like an overview of what's happening, and also we interact with you guys, telling you, okay, what's happening there. Also, there's all the manuals and videos to help you guys on site. So it is basically, I would say, the Bible with a lot of information there. You have one account where you can basically monitor multiple accounts also. So it is something that we've been working really hard on. Definitely it's something that we highly see that it will be used highly here. So it's quite important to have a look at those different platforms. And again, it's good to have the hardware, but the software behind it is also important. So maybe let's go now to the one of the last part, which is the hydrogen section here. So we are also working on a hydrogen solution. As I mentioned at the start, our vision is 24 hours of sun, 100% renewable. And one thing that we think it will play a big part in the big picture is basically hydrogen. And producing hydrogen at the moment, it's not really green hydrogen, but the goal for Fronius is to create this green hydrogen there. So maybe let's have a look over there. So here you'll see our solution. So maybe we can have a look at a bit more explanation of what is the solution with Fronius from Mr. Hackel.
Wir befinden uns hier vor unserem neuesten Produkt, dem Fronius Sol Hub. Das ist ein dezentraler Knotenpunkt für Sonnenenergie. Hier im Sol Hub wird Sonnenenergie mittels Elektrolyse in Wasserstoff verwandelt. Der Wasserstoff kann dann für wasserstoffbetriebene Fahrzeuge abgetankt werden oder auch zum Beispiel im Winter rückverstromt werden und dann wieder in die Netze eingespeist werden. Dies ermöglicht Energiegemeinschaftsanlagen, Kommunen, Unternehmen, Logistikern, aber auch Landwirten, ihre eigene Sonnenenergie zur Erzeugung von Wasserstoff zu benutzen und mit diesem Wasserstoff emissionsfreie Logistik herzustellen.
All right, so maybe let's have a look at the solution itself. So maybe let's look at the storage solution here. So those are basically the tanks where we store the hydrogen. So usually hydrogen is stored around 450 to 900 bars. So in Thailand, we have up to 27 kilograms of hydrogen, which is used at 450 bars. So as you can see, we have the infrastructure there where we are basically testing and also using there. Is quite interesting. Maybe the next part is to have a look inside the container. So here you can see the electrolyzer. So maybe let's have a look at all the components required in this system, just like a summary. So here you have the PV, which is connected to an inverter, of course, which is producing, let's say, electricity. Then here on number 6, you have a fuel cell. Number 3, you have the electrolyzer. and then from there you have the storage there. So what happened is this electrolyzer needs to have some power to it, so that's where it comes from, the solar energy. And then the electrolyzer, what it will do is going to take water and separate hydrogen and oxygen. Then we store the hydrogen, of course. Then from the hydrogen, if you want to reuse it as electricity, of course, you have the fuel cell there, which basically produce the electricity from hydrogen cell. In both of those processes, you have quite some heat loss. So this heat loss is also being able to be harvested. And if you need to have hydrogen for immobility, it is also possible. So what would be good maybe is to have a look at the whole process here. So let's shift to the next part. All right, so here you can see different components. All right, so let's have a look at the production of hydrogen here. So as you can see, we use renewable electricity, which comes in, as mentioned before. You have the electrolyzer, which split hydrogen and oxygen from water. What we do is, what we want here is the hydrogen, of course. So the hydrogen goes to basically to a compressor, so that we can have the right pressure going to the storage system. And then again, heat is also dissipated, so we want to harvest this heat as much as possible. Then of course we store the hydrogen, but if you want to use this hydrogen into electricity, again we use a fuel cell to do the reconversion. And then from there, of course, the heat that we can harvest, but also electricity that can be used. So as you can see, it's quite an interesting process here. And definitely, if you had the chance to go to Austria, you want to have a look, please let us know. We can arrange a guide tour there. So then maybe the last part here is the hydrogen system solution. How do we use it? So of course we have forklifts, we have cars, hydrogen cars over there, like a small golf cart kind of. So we basically use it in logistic at Fronius. We have a system there, so why not using it? So basically we can recharge or refuel those vehicle there. So as you can see, it's quite an exciting project for us. We already won quite a few awards about this technology, so it's something that we're already working hard with. Definitely, I hope we can see this solution here happening in Australia. So that's pretty much it for us. Maybe the last part is the Fronius solution program. So if you want to become a Fronius solution partner, you can head to our website. There's an application that you need to go through. Basically, the advantage of being a Fronius solution partner, definitely one is to be able to exchange boards on site, so reducing let's say the downtime of the system. Also with sales and marketing tools, we can definitely help you. And also this network events. As the name says, partners, we want to work close with you. And it's a goal that we really want to achieve, being you installers being one of the important part of the picture here. So that's pretty much it on our side. So I think right now what we're going to do is take some questions. All right, so if you guys have any question, please feel free to send it through. Does it look like there was a lot of questions in here? Okay. Sounds like it's pretty clear for everyone. One thing that we will do throughout the next week. So tomorrow we have a residential section where we're gonna go a bit more in depth with the Cymogen 24. So if you're still interested, there will be a few different things that we're gonna show tomorrow. Also, there will be a webinar for commercial. So how can you reduce cost on commercial jobs? How do you actually, let's say, look at the important parts when it comes to commercial? So there's a lot of things to discuss, I would say. So next week there will be a training, which is basically in two parts, where we will all show you guys how to optimize the cost of the system and also important pillars when it comes to commercial. So just to give you guys a rough idea, we're able to save for, let's say, different system size. So let's say a 1 meg job, around $50,000. So it's quite a significant saving that you can do using our solution. So definitely I would highly encourage to get, maybe if you have engineering teams or if you have even salespeople, to attend. It's basically, let's say, half technical, half sales there, but it will give you guys ideas of how to optimize on the commercial side of things. So doesn't look like there is any questions here. So I think you guys should be quite straightforward on your guys' side. So if there's no questions, thanks again for everyone attending today. We'll definitely send the recording for you guys. If you have your team who you want to show the stand a bit more in details, please let us know. Get in touch via the email that you've seen before. We can do, let's say, a private tour if required. Definitely, it's something that we have been using. It's easier for us to show you our different product range. So definitely get in touch with us, and yeah, highly encouraged to register for the next training, which will be pretty exciting with the Fronius commercial solution. So yeah, that's pretty much it for us today, guys. So thanks again for taking some time. I know how busy it is for the other state except Victoria, so I know how it is there. So yeah, I wish you all guys a good time, and thanks again for attending today.